couple of weeks ago, I found myself in a state of grief. Wait, let me just... Yeah. Like, you go through these phases in your growth where you feel like you've got amnesia, like there's an itch in your memory bank that you can't seem to get, and it becomes frustrating. And for me, I start questioning the state, the nature of my existence, if I'm actually living to its optimum. Am I doing things the way I'm ought to be doing? And I understand there's a lot of struggles at different capacities, I would say. From an individual capacity, from a family capacity, from a community, and outright towns, regions, you name it. There's these different struggles, and some are similar, which help us connect to one another. Others are felt at a community level where people come together for the common good to make a change. And it's kind of a relief when people see the same struggle you see, because that means you're not alone. And that also encourages the fact that there is someone there with you, in the sense that now you have a companion or a partner to tackle whatever struggle that you are going through, or the community, or wherever you are at large. For me, my state of grief was when I looked into it and started questioning, came from the fact that a lot of things that I'm learning now, they're kind of like the blueprint of my existence, my identity. I know I have them. I have them in my mind bank, like subconsciously they are there, and I can feel they are there. But it's accessing the tools that I need to get past a blockage, to get past a momentary lapse of judgment, I would say, just to get past that state of block. I know I have them, but it's me trying to access them that I find is the tricky part. And once I do an assessment, I come to realize that some part of it is attributed to my upbringing, because I believe we have 6 senses, and they're all vitally important, and they help us. And in a variety of things, in our assessing, our deciding, even how we tackle with the consequences of our decisions, all 6 senses matter. But growing up, I was told I have 5 senses. But the training that I got was through my intellect. Everything that I studied, school, at home, I had to use my intellect. And so much so, I'm dependent on that. I tend to think that my intuition must be governed by my intellect. If something doesn't make logical sense, then it can't work, then it can't be true. And I find that is my struggle, because the things that I'm learning now, the possibilities that are in me, in the sense of being able to visualize and manifest things, there's no logical sense that you can put into something like that. But if you have faith and you believe that whatever you envision, you manifest, it will come true. How then do you quantify that? How then do you make that a tangible thing that you can convince someone that it's possible for them to do the same? And sometimes it's great, it's amazing, and sometimes it's like, am I going crazy here? What the hell am I doing? And I find we go through those phases in life that you do something out of instinct, that you just dive in head first, and it comes out, it's successful, and you are happy with the result. And the reason why we envision and we are able to manifest is because the vision that you hold in your mind is a motivator, keeps you at a high and keeps you wanting to achieve that possibility that only you can see. And obviously we have to put in the work, but you never feel that, because the amount of work you put in there, it's not a dictator of your worth, of you having to achieve that. And that's why we always envision everything that we want at a finished state, because you being able to put that shows that you are worthy of it. It's that you must be every day, make that a habit for you to acquire what is set as a possibility. And everything in our lives, at some point in time, it was a possibility. But because we kept at it and we kept on visualizing and manifesting and creating habits that will ensure that we acquire that, made it a reality. And because we're not aware of the things that we manifest most of the time, we think it's luck, or we think there's some other force that is attributed to that. And at some point we are doing ourselves a disservice, because we are not aware of the trends and the habits that we set in terms of manifesting. So we cannot keep that constant. We cannot keep that pattern of thinking constant, and we cannot hold on to it as long as we need to. I find that I'm very much capable of most things I set my mind to, but my problem is my attention. I have such a short attention span that something just quickly fizzles out, and then I leave it, and then it resurfaces again sometime later, and I keep at it, but then I just move on to something else, because I like new things. I like something fresh and new, and I find it's easy for me to think up an idea and pass it on to someone that I know will be committed and will be focused and will keep at it more than I can. And that's just me. That's what I know and I'm aware I'm capable of. And when I say this is a struggle within me, it's because, as much as I know what I'm capable of, it's something that I cannot prove. It's something that I cannot quantify and have data to pick it up. It's just a feeling, it's a sense that if I can just work on these certain things, I know I can achieve. And we go through life with that. There's some people that are just in tune with themselves, that they know what they're capable of. But they depend on instinct so much that they are not aware that they can make certain things a habit. Just by making like your traits a habit, you can keep it constant, you can keep going. And I always believe that the struggle starts with you, because you can acquire self-love, you can love yourself to a point, and if you are not critical of your habits, if you're not critical and question the why you do the things you do, you always fall back to the same pattern of doing things. That's where you feel stuck. That's where you feel you cannot move past a point. And sometimes we have to put in the work. We have to evaluate ourselves, and we have to be critically aware of the people that we are. And that's when we can join the bigger struggles of making the changes in our communities, of making the changes in the things that we see and are at our disadvantage. And it will always start with us. It will always start with you, how you do things. And I'm not a great believer in that when you do something and you do not know why you do it, and you can't account. If there's no accountability, I feel like you cannot be a trustworthy person, in the sense that you would do something that will hurt me, and your fallback will always be, I don't know why I did it. All the systems and the tools that we need are within us. Anything that we need to survive and to live our best life is within us. And it does take that digging, it does take that work to figure out the person that you are, your belief system, what you are working with, and how you go about changing the level at which you are living to the next level, to help you to grow and become the better version of yourself. And it's a gradual process. The person that I am today, I was not this person yesterday. The person that I was yesterday, I could never be, until I had to put in the work and figure out what makes me tick, what ticks me off, what makes me maneuver amongst people. There are certain things that even now I know, like I know I have a short temper, but that's not an excuse for when someone does something to me, I snap. I know that I have great anxiety when I walk outside, but I know that stems from my belief of that people have a violent nature that they cannot account to. It's all these things that we have to assess, the type of behavior we bring out, what is the cause, the type of people we are, where does it stem from? And there are systems that we've long forgotten, like cultures, like customs, like education, and the way we're brought up and the way the world has brought us up, that sometimes collide and we do not know which path to take. But the tools and the systems of functioning are always within us. And the struggle is for us to bring out the best in ourselves, the best way we know how. And it will always come from you, deep down, whether you need to meditate, whether you need to go through an intense training, but you have to find out what brings out the best in you, what makes you tick, what actions you take when you're under certain pressures, when you're under certain excitements. You have to discover. That is your struggle. It's in each and every one of us, the struggle of figuring out the type of people we are, how we move in the world, how we are when we are alone, how we are when we are around certain people that agree with our form of thinking, how we are with people that disagree with our form of thinking. Do we dismiss them and create these barriers of, I don't like that person? Or are we open to learning other perspectives of how other people function in our societies? Each and everything that we do poses a certain opportunity. It comes sometimes as a struggle because we do not think that we have the tool set to maneuver past that. But once we dig deep within ourselves, and no one can govern how you actually maneuver in, how you discover the traits, the skills, the tools that you have to live your best life. No one can govern that. You will see it. Perhaps you will see it by seeing someone that has a similar personality with you, and you find, oh, this is how they make things work for themselves. And it comes with training. Sometimes you'll find you are using tools that are not made for you, and that's okay. We should not fear being wrong at times, I would say. I don't believe there's any wrong way of doing things. It's just that sometimes it's an advantage to you, sometimes it's a disadvantage, and it's all attributed to your belief system. If you are doing something that is against your belief, you will feel stuck. You will feel like you're not getting anywhere. But it's not that you can't reach that access point to give you the tools you need. It's just that the way you're going about it, it's against your belief. And until you have that connection of whatever you do that matches your belief, your flow becomes easier. Your mental capacity of taking in things becomes easier. Your manifestations become easier, because whatever we do has to align with our belief system. And our belief system are not written in stone. It's not this concrete thing that you cannot change. You can always change, because that's the beauty of being a human being. The blueprints that we have are very flexible in the sense that whatever or whoever we grow to be, our belief system can adjust, our belief system can change, and as long as something is for our advantage, as long as something is for the betterment of this being that is you, it will always work for you. That's how it is by design. That's how life has given us a stepping stone, an inch. Our belief system, as much as they're ingrained, they actually can be flexible. They can maneuver according to the people that we grow to be, because the core objective is for us to be the best versions of this human entity that we are, the best versions, and living our best life. Because as much as we are dependent on this ecosystem that is here for us, we are also part of it. We also need to have a certain level of care, a certain level of gratitude. But if you're not aware of the person that you are and how you maneuver through life, it will always come to clash, because there are laws of life that are set there, and they are there for the betterment of all, not to put anyone greater or lesser than, but because of our education, we feel we always need to be better than, to be better people. It's not. It's not. Life has set a widespread possibility of what a human being can be, but that doesn't put us at a greater point than the tree that we take fruit from, than the root that we eat. We are all co-dependent, and that comes with a certain nurture, that comes with a certain care that we have to give, a certain kindness we have to exude. And the struggle with us, we cannot connect because our belief system has shifted so much from life. Our focus is the world, how we can fit in the world, how we can be part of this world that's forever growing, forever progressing, and it feels like it's pushing us out, because every time we strive for something, we can't seem to get there, because our belief system is based on the laws of life, how we always have to envision, and we are capable of manifesting what we envision. And that's where the clash comes in, because the systems that we have and our belief system contradict how the world functions, because those systems are there to benefit certain people. And if you abide by the laws of the world, you will benefit. But if certain things come about and the change is made by the world and you haven't arrived there, it will kick you out. That's the system of the world. But the system of life, it doesn't. Whatever you form part of, whatever you conform to, life is there. And life is forever present. But for you to connect to life, there is work to be done within you. There is work to be done, and it's work that requires you and you alone. And there is no form of logic that you can apply to it. And okay, I want it to make sense. Sometimes you have to do it. And through the process of doing, you open up into, oh, this is why. Oh, okay, I see now, I understand. And it's not going to be all like how New Thought portrays it to be. It's all good, it's all beautiful, it's all... Working on yourself is a certain struggle that becomes painful, somewhat depressing, somewhat lonely, because it's the work that you can't echo it out to someone, because they might not be going through the same thing you're going through. It might be a similar struggle, but they are coming from a different perspective. So you won't be able to keep echoing something out there, and someone will be there to receive. And it's work that you need to do. And it's a struggle each and every one of us goes through. Because unlike, when we think of life in the form of you are born, you grow, and you die, we think it's a straight line. It's a circle. It's a circle of life. And we go through stages, and sometimes it feels like we're repeating a stage because we haven't gone past that. Until we go past that and we grow, we become better versions of ourselves. Not that we're wrong at one point, it's just that we haven't opened up and we haven't learned the certain skills to access our template, to access our beings that will give us the best version of ourselves, the best version of how we acquire certain things from this life that will help us, that will keep us in tune. A couple of days ago, I was really frustrated, and it's such a small thing, because at some point I was able, like growing up, to just look outside and know what kind of weather it will be for that day, and to know when it's going to be cold, or to know when it's going to rain. I had that, but because I focused so much on the skills of fitting into society, obviously it was not something that I was aware of, like even my education in terms of, I saw that this is what people do. I emulated and I became that. Now I'm this grown person, and I'm like, I've forgotten how to actually be that in tune with nature, of knowing the weather patterns just by instinct. And I find that is my struggle, to be better in tune, in touch with me, how I function, how I exude kindness, how I interact with the next person. That is my struggle. And amongst many of my struggles, it's just this is the one that I'm aware of and I'm alert to at this point in time. I know there will be others that will surface once I unlock this one. And that's how it is to be a person, to be a being in this life. There are certain struggles that we are not aware of. But being alert to one causes a ripple effect, because it is for the betterment of the beings that we are and the beings that we are meant to be. And as much as we're looking for the best possible options for us to be able to live our best lives, we also are learning what it is to be a human being in this world and in this life, and how we can coexist, so to say, because the world is here, and majority of our existence is dependent on the world. We have education, we have bills, we have families, and that's the system that we live under. But each and every one of us have struggles that we find ourselves in, and we are stuck because we do not know how to maneuver. We do not know how to move past our blockages. And my advice would be to look within. I saw a post this morning that self-love is great, but it is useless without self-awareness. Because at some point you have to think and you have to criticize yourself before you are criticized by the next person. You have to ask yourself the questions of why you behave a certain way. You have to ask yourself why you feel a certain way. And yes, there are traumas that we have faced. There are traumas that dictate how we act now, long after those events. And they can't keep being the driving force of the people we are. So we have to, at every phase in our lives, when we want to grow, we must always be self-aware. We must always be critical thinkers of the type of people we are, so that we do not get shocked when people notice certain traits that we believe we don't have, because we do have those tendencies of thinking, oh, I'm a nice person, I'm good, people taking advantage of me. Yet we act selfishly when it comes to interacting with other people, because we always thinking that we're that good of people, and people will always see how you act before you actually show what you believe. They will always see how you act, and that is the struggle amongst many struggles that we have, that our belief should drive our actions. And as we grow, I wish this for you, that you understand and you see your struggles and you critically assess them, and you are aware of your actions, and always know that the struggle continues. It's not a bad thing. It's just there to help us grow. Live your best life. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week.